Welcome to Rauta's opinion video. This time it's about streaming services. Get your bottles of beer or cups of coffee ready. We're gonna talk about what this means to you, who probably come from non-mainstream background. Now, a couple of weeks ago I encountered this article about Soundcloud being about to revolutionize streaming payouts. This probably needs a little bit of introduction because some of you don't have a clue what I'm talking about, and those who know, well, just be patient with me or take a trip to the toilet before we get to the actual business here. Now, what is in question is, first of all, SoundCloud. It's a streaming service much like Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music and the like, only a lot smaller, more indie and less mainstream. I mean, streaming service for music has been dominated by Spotify for many years, and Apple Music is another big apple to this particular fruit basket. And this is the actual problem here for many bands. Now, people know, at least lots of people know, that Spotify is more or less owned by these big record labels. So what in essence it means is that these payouts for streams, well, they're not that big. First of all, it gets a little complicated here, but bear with me, I'll try to explain you the basics. Because of a record label usually owns rights to any given record they have signed a deal with, that is with the band, they actually own the rights to the CD, LP, whatever, let's just call it an album or release for the sake of argument. And because of that, well, when there is a stream payout coming, you know, certain kind of revenue for the times that the music is being played. Well, most of it is taken by the label, which in essence means that all these big labels, while they already get their share, they also get another share because of, you know, what Spotify is doing with these payouts. Not only that is part of the problem for smaller bands especially, but these payouts are not really shared equally. That is, say you have 100 band, just once again for the sake of argument, and then you have these 100 band each have 10 releases. Bear with me, you have 1,000 releases, right? 100 bands, 10 releases each, 1,000. Yes, basic mathematics. I'm not going to go into real numbers here because it would just make things a little bit complicated. Now, when you have these 1,000 releases here, what you would imagine, like, they all have different amount of streams. Obviously, I mean, you really can't compare Taylor Swift to Dogthrone. You really can't compare Judas Priest to, say, some unknown black metal band which probably has only a few followers. But the thing here is, it's not even equally shared into times like, okay, let's say Metallica has 90% of all streams on the service, and as such they would, you know, earn about 90% of the stream payouts. That would be basic mathematics. I mean, if you have 90% of the streams, you get 90% of the payout as well. But it's not that simple. What in essence Spotify and what I've had understood of these other services as well, they kind of favor the ones that are so-called big fish, which means they get even more than this amount which is, well, their share. So it doesn't really matter whether this big artist share is 4% or if it's 90%, they anyway get way more than that. And what it is means in essence, do the smaller bands, they get even less than their share per percentage. So it gets very unequal so many ways, and that means very many artists are kind of pissed off at Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, whatever. Now, obviously, this is much more complicated if we take a look at these legal jargons. If we actually start reading these, you know, agreements and whatever, well, it probably goes right above our heads from the very beginning. Because the thing here is, these are of legal matters, and there's so many clauses and points, you know, with these agreements, that it's gonna be just lost in the professional jargon once again. And also because these companies are built upon the very foundation that it's not meant to be, like that in the beginning, well, it hurts even more the smaller artists. And that's where SoundCloud comes in. Now, make no mistake, this is not a paid advertisement or anything like that. This is just from a point of me, having my own small bands, very meaningless in the big scale anyway. And I'm curious about this kind of stuff because SoundCloud is going to revolutionize this based on more equal share. So once again, this means like when we have these, let's just say 100 different releases, and say the big 5 of them get like 50% of the share. So they should get that 50% of the share, right? Instead of that even more, what Spotify and the others are doing. And those smaller bands should be getting their share just for their streams. The amount of streams should be exactly what they are. So if you have 1% cut on the whole cake, you would get 1% of the revenue you paid out. And this would be a great news for smaller bands. And this is what this Music Business Worldwide article is trying to say. Not getting too technical into details of all that, but just explaining what this means. Because these are very, very hard to understand unless you have the basic understanding what's going on with the streaming services and how the revenues are paid. And at the moment anyway, all the smaller artists are basically, crushed under these feet of the bigger artists. It's not like the thing would be like, okay, we don't even have to touch the amount of money these bigger artists are making. And this is not their fault, obviously. This just gets more complicated. But the point is, what people actually need is this kind of streaming services to make it all more sustainable. But let's be honest about it. Most people don't even know what the hell SoundCloud is. They listen to their music on YouTube or then, as a second choice, Spotify. So what this means for average underground Joe who wants to stream their music, maybe because they're on the go. Maybe they just go for jogging. Maybe they are just, walking to a bar and they don't have their portable CD player, let alone vinyl player, to go with the music. So it doesn't really help whether you're listening to your favorite underground black metal stuff and you really can't get that, played on the go. So sometimes you just go for the streaming services. Doesn't matter how hardcore fan you are at home listening your favorite LPs or tapes or CDs. But when you're on the go, whether it's driving, riding a bike, walking, jogging, I don't know, having sex with your partner in crime, you maybe need to listen to that music from streaming services. It might be because of Bluetooth or might be some other ways. But anyway, you just want the stream going. But you really can't find your artists on maybe Spotify. Or if you can, it's not really supporting the artist. Or in case you're a band, you're already frustrated because you don't get any revenue out of Spotify. Maybe because you're too small and you can't really get bigger, especially during COVID times, because you don't have gigs. You have no ways, no means to make yourself more known. So you're kind of bound to be underground, even if you don't want to. And for those artists which are already, very underground and don't want to be part of streaming services, well, these news are not hurting them either. So basically, theoretically speaking, everybody should win in this scenario, especially the smaller ones. The bigger ones already have their money, have their coverage, already have them, their names on the news and all that stuff. But for the smaller Joes and Mikes and Johannas, this is a great news. Theoretically speaking, once again, obviously we don't know yet how good this will be. But what there is interesting is that there's a couple of artists mentioned here which are said to be, having significant growth with SoundCloud. Also, SoundCloud seems to be boasting with their numbers, having 250 million tracks from 30 million creators in 190 countries. Now, these are really, really big numbers because when we're talking about tens of millions, not to mention hundreds of millions of music, well, it's really, really big numbers. Obviously, it's hard to make yourself known among those big numbers, But at least if this is as fair as they said it would be helpful for the smaller bands. I don't know about you, but at least I feel like giving a chance to SoundCloud because of that. Because every now and then, for example, I get asked like, hey Jerry, why isn't your band on Spotify? I would like to listen to that on there, because when I'm on the go, when I'm driving or whatever, I don't have your CD or LP. I mean, it's not like my band is a big thing and doesn't even matter to most people. It's more like giving a little bit of chance to put that music right there. I don't care if it actually brings, much of a money, but I don't want to be paying for Spotify service to play your music and instead not even cover the expenses. So for little bands, much like mine, or me and my friends, and other similar bands, I think this is a great opportunity. And really, I don't see we are going to lose anything, if given a chance to SoundCloud. So I guess my point in the end is, let's just hope this is as true as it's supposed to be. And maybe we should give SoundCloud a fair chance in order to listen to music. Right with Bandcamp and other services which are already there supporting smaller artists. So get to know SoundCloud, and I hope you can actually make some money with your band via that way, especially when people are not buying CDs, LPs and tapes. Jerry's rant and opinion video out. Should you have comments or questions, looking forward to them, put them on the comments box below and I will get back to you. Meanwhile, have a great weekend and look for more Rauta videos coming your way.